Well, I told you guys I would show you if anything interesting happened, and we set the seeder down, and the rate controller wheel for the seeder sank into the sand, and now it's all bent up. Alright guys, so I just got to the field to, I don't know if you can even see him. Right there is a seeder. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Got our alfalfa seeder, and I got some seed in the back. We're going to get it filled up, and then I'm going to start running it, and Hans will take my truck back to the farm. So, but while we're waiting for him to get back here, I'll talk a little bit about the field that we're doing it on here. This is the third alfalfa field we planted this year. We planted technically like 2 full pivots, which are 120 acres, and then a windshield wiper pivot, which I want to say is like 100 acres. And this alfalfa field is mine that I'm renting from a guy personally. And the way that I was able to rent this field and one other half pivot about a mile south of me at like 15 years old, I think, 15, 16, my dad knew the guy who had been wanting to rent out the field, and they helped me, they loaned me the money to rent, and the fields were already seeded when I started renting, so I didn't have to worry about seed for the first year. And so I started renting the fields. There was wheat on both of them. Harvested the wheat. And I should probably move over here some. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history. We talked to the landlord about transitioning them to organic, because that's what all of our farms are organic, and that's what we wanted to do with these fields. He said yes. My half pivot just south of me there is organic this year. It's transitioned. This hay field we had to spray because of the weeds that were coming up with the wheat. And so this one will not be transitioning into organic, be a conventional hay field. But yeah, I thought I'd talk a little bit about how I was able to get going farming with my parents' help. They loaned me the money. My dad knew the guy, and I started renting the fields, and it's still going good. We had one hard year last year. This field was wheat and the other field was corn, and this field just didn't do very good. It got hailed on and the wheat just got pounded, so I think the wheat would have done a lot better last year if it didn't get hailed on, because there's a lot of grain on the ground. But yeah, I'm gonna get backed up and we're gonna load this seeder. So we actually need to get the seeder box empty because there's a problem with the meter. So we're going to get it empty so we can look at it, and then we'll see. Well, I told you guys I would show you if anything interesting happened, and we set the seeder down, and the rate controller wheel for the seeder sank into the sand, and now it's all bent up. So we got the wheel taken off. She's a bit tweaked. And we got the cord disconnected. Go back to the shop and get it all fixed, hopefully. Alright guys, after a lot of heat and a lot of hammer pounding, we got her bent back. You can see we melted all of the paint off. We added this plate right here to keep it from being able to move in between there. So now it's tight in there. And we added this new square piece because that was bent up, and we just did 2 bolts instead of like the 1 bolt coming in through the side and then the pins. We just did 2 bolts sucking it tight so it wouldn't move. Ran the wire back in a different place, and yeah, now I gotta take all the tools back to the truck. Got all the seed moved over to my pickup, and it's just about empty, but we gotta get it all the way empty because we gotta check one of the bearings for this meter right here. So I don't know if you can see in there, but something's been not going right with that bearing in there. So we're gonna get it empty and see if there's something, trash from a bag or something in there, or if the bearing's just going bad. And then once we get that figured out, we should be good to go. So this is our Brilliant roller, and then we custom made, we got this Hotzenbickler seed set up. So the tank with the fan or the blower, and it blows it into there, into all those little hoses, and all those little hoses come to this custom plate we built. Got a elbow on here, and it spits out of there, hits here, and just sprays out everywhere. So it kind of smooths up the ground, sprays all the seed, and then rolls it into the ground. And then once we get this field planted, again, this is actually the second time we're planting it. You can see like alfalfa here, and then here, and then here. With how sandy it was when we planted it, none of it really came up that great. So we're redoing it. This will be the second field we're replanting out of 3. The third one I think is going to be alright, but these 2 that we redid are not. So we'll get to seeding and see how it goes. Alright, we just, well, we didn't just get going yet. We've been going for a while, just been making sure everything's been working good. We had to get the seeder empty because I needed to check to see if there was any trash around one of the feeders, I guess is what you'd call it, because the bearing wasn't spinning. But there was nothing around it, so I think the bearing's just bad, so we just disconnected it so it wouldn't spin anymore. Got the seeder filled all the way up, and we are getting close to halfway done with this field. Hopefully we'll be able to finish tonight. But I'm just going to finish up this middle section here, and we'll be good to go. Sorry it's so bumpy, and I don't know if you can even see that screen. Right now, I'm planting 10% more than usual because, I don't know if you can really tell, but there's like no alfalfa in this spot that I'm doing. You can see it, there's like green here and green here. For some reason it must have just been really sandy right in this path. So I'm doing 10% extra over this spot, and yeah, gonna get it all seeded. Showed you, got that rate wheel fixed earlier today. I just walked through and checked to make sure all the hoses were still blowing out air, make sure none of them were plugged, and the seed box is completely full, so we should be good to go for the rest of the day, hopefully. But I'll pick you guys up here if something fun happens. But for now, just slowly make my way through the field. Alright guys, well, we are officially like 3/4 done seeding. So hopefully we'll get done in like 2 hours, and then we'll start rolling it in a circle. Everything's still working great. My dad came and took my spot for a little bit so I could go sell my dirt bike. And now we're just enjoying the views. It's probably a little bright on the GoPro. I'll show you later. But the mountains look beautiful tonight. Sun's setting over there. My girlfriend's gonna bring me some supper. And I just got some drone shots. And I'm gonna put them up when it's a little less sunny, when the sun sets some more, with the mountains in the background and everything. Well, right before I put the camera away, I forgot that earlier, right before I started seeding, I was telling you guys about how I was able to rent this ground and how I got started farming. And I don't think I ever really finished talking about it. So, if I did, I'm sorry, Thomas, you'll have to edit all this out. But, yeah, I've been farming for my dad, or working on the farm, since I was like 4. Just hanging out with my dad on the farm. Loved it since birth. But, I really started getting into the farming, like, when I was probably 8 to 10 range. I started running the grain cart, like, during wheat harvest. And then I'd work on the farm whenever my dad would let me skip school, which was pretty often, actually. And, yeah, it just progressed from there. Started working more and more, like middle school, like 7th, 8th grade. And then, when it was time to start high school, I decided to start doing online high school instead of go to an actual school. That way I could have a lot more free time to go work instead of being stuck in school all day, because I can get my school done for the week in like 2 days. So I started doing that. I'm trying to think of what month it was where my dad was like, hey, there's this guy who wants to rent some land. Would you be interested in doing that? I know you love doing the farming. And I was like, yeah. So we went and talked to him. We looked at this field and the half pivot just south of me. And I was like, yeah, I would love to farm these fields. So I started farming them. My parents loaned me the money to pay the guy rent at the very beginning. And then my dad helped me custom farm it and or harvest all the wheat off of it. And then once I sold the wheat, I paid off my loan to him. And my loan, or it wasn't a loan, just my bill for the custom harvesting. And then things just progressed from there. I've been farming, this will be the 3rd year farming these fields, and I've loved it. This year, obviously this field is hay, and that other field is wheat. I think I told you guys before. That half pivot will be organic. And one second, I gotta turn around. Alright, sorry about that, I had to turn around. It's looking really good, and I think it's easier to see on the GoPro now that the sun's not as bright. This west end of the field, you can see like all those green splotches, like not this stuff, that's all grass and wheat, but all those green splotches are alfalfa, and all the brown is just sand. I'm pretty sure this side, the other side was not as bad as this. It was probably 70% of what it could have been, and this side's probably 50, not even 50 in some spots, percent of what it could have been. We want it to be a lot thicker, a lot more alfalfa, not so spread out. So yeah, it's looking good. You can see all these little ruts through the field. That one's a pivot track, and then all these other smaller ones are from a gopher getter is what it's called. You put gopher bait into, it's like a box on top of this implement, and then it has a shank with a wheel as the meter, and as you drive, it drops the poison down into a tube that goes down the back of the shank and into the ground right behind the shank. That way, when the gophers are digging through your hayfield, they obviously get into the bait, and die. And it's really helped. When we first planted this field, the next day we came out here to finish seeding it, and there was gopher mounds on the whole field. So we did that, and there's hardly any gopher mounds in this field now. So love to see it. Love to see that it worked. Obviously now it can't be organic because 1, we sprayed it, and 2, we put the poison in the ground. So this field won't be organic. I'm not sure if we'll transition after this. It just depends what the weeds look like in the hay, I guess, or if we will need to spray it again, but it just all depends on what it looks like. So yeah, it's going good, but I'll check in here in a little bit. Look at that sunset. It's beautiful in Colorado. Thomas is gonna get jealous while he's watching this video, editing it. I'm gonna be so mad because it don't look like that. I don't know if you guys can even see it on the camera. I know it just looks kind of bright from what I can see through the GoPro, but you can see the mountains perfectly. Orange coming out behind them. I don't think there's any better sunset in the world. So if you like seeing stuff like that and watching our farming content, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because we're trying to reach 10K as soon as we can. So make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Get us there. It'd be great. Thank you. Alright, well, we're done for the night. Kai wants to go home, and I'm on a ride. It's getting late. I still got to go home and do school. So we're going to call it. We are like 5 rounds away from being done, I guess. Cedar's still in good shape. Still alive anyways. And I know you guys probably can't see me now. But we're going to call it, and we'll finish in the morning. So, been a great day, other than the one mishap, one break.